In our Genuine Voices conversations recently, John, we've asked what can we trust, or who can we trust? Can we trust fake news and what is truth? And then we considered, can we trust AI? And we're going to sort of continue that theme. What can we trust? It's one of your frequent comments on these videos over the years. You say, I don't trust my
thoughts, yes.
Well, I thought we would go there this morning, and I've never asked you why. So why don't you trust your thoughts? They're your thoughts. They've been nurtured over 80 odd years. You should be on good terms with them by now.
Well, I'll bring in here my new word, conceptual. Do you know, this whole subject gets bigger and bigger. And at what point do I'll try to answer this question. If you think of it as a balloon ever rising upwards, from which point of view, as the balloon ascends, shall I endeavour to answer this question? Now, you're asking me about thoughts. I've almost forgotten what it is to think. And certainly, at this moment now, thoughts seem a phenomena long forgotten. Sounds extraordinary, doesn't it? Considering how much we have of our life, what we call life, is spent trying to deal with them, enjoying them, hating them, living in them. What are thoughts? My God. Well, wobbly creatures, that's one thing one can say, because they usually change from often hour to hour, don't they, if not day to day or year by year. When I was a child, I thought as a child. As St. Paul said, when I became a man, I put away childish things. What do we trust? If I say, as I have been doing, I think, in recent videos, the only thing you can trust is what I might call the presence, which I try to indicate by this. Is that the end of it? Where does this end? What is the world? Extraordinary, isn't it? How at times we can completely forget about the world's existence. Well, you know yourself, Phil. You've been meditating with me long enough. What is the world? Well, if the world's, again, such a wobbly creature, and you ask what can one trust? Well, probably by elimination. Almost everything, except what? And this we can't even describe, can we? And where does this end? The Bible tells us to trust God, whatever God is.
I do get the line of thought. I can't shake them off. That thoughts are transient.
Oh, transient, yes.
By their nature, they come and go. Like one of your sayings is, if you don't like the weather, wait a bit. If you don't like the thoughts, wait a bit, because of course you can't remember what you were thinking about 5 minutes ago. So I do get that. Don't trust your thought. Yeah, don't trust my thoughts because they're transient. But I suspect, correct me if I'm wrong, that there's something more behind that. I can hear a whisper of the S word. You don't trust your thoughts because they're naughty or they're corrupt. Does that have a part to play?
Well, let's bring in this very useful, I can't think of a word to describe it, but pure and impure. Now, what is meant by, in this context, impure? Well, impure would be a product of me. Conceptual, in other words, something of human concept. Pure is something, well, pure is just free of human concept. It was in the supermarket this morning, and I bought bread and some bananas. And I was going on to, there's a sort of crisp bread I like. I was looking at all the products and thought how almost everything contains some human addition to the basic pure product. I mean, take a product like flour. How many millions of different sorts of biscuits, crisp breads, every sort of confectionery is really just totted up flour, isn't it? Or milk. And think of all the billions of things people do with milk. There's the dear pure cow produces dear pure milk. And the farmer gets almost nothing for it. And then one manufacturer after another. I use the phrase tart it up. It was a bit vulgar, you know what I mean? But in a way, but that's really what much human art is, isn't it? Tarting things up.
I must remember that when talking to a technologist or a scientist or Elon Musk. You're busy tarting things up, Elon. And yet, St. Paul, in one of his letters, says quite categorically, "For we have the mind of Christ." So, square that circle, Mr. Butler.
Well, undeniable, isn't it? That however impure, conceptual the world we live in may be, it's still a precipitation from this pure original, isn't it? I like to use the example of here up in heaven somewhere, there's just pure water vapor. I'm not even sure if it's water. And then something happens to it. As it descends, it becomes visible as little wispy clouds, or measurable as something. That clouds condenses into raindrops, falls into muddy puddles and ice. Well, it seems to me that all creation is really a precipitation from this pure, nameless, formless, origin, which if we must, which actually, and this is what's so exciting about coming to the end of life, what we call dying, which is actually the very opposite of what we think, because we're simply growing out of all our limits, all the precipitations, the limitations, both pure and impure, of this life, and finding this completion, this pure, no words are there. Yes, I hope I'm able to convey it. It's just whatever words you use, like light or freedom or unlimited, pure consciousness, pure, these are just words. But the reality of it is, here's this old man dying out. I've never been so alive, honestly. I'm not making it up. It's absolutely real. I came down from the church this morning, I crossed the main road, opened my back door, went up the stairs. I'm not John Butler at all. I'm not a man. I'm not even a person. I don't have a name. I don't have a form. But I'm complete. I'm just this. And if you like to, down here we can sort of talk about presence with more or less of, getting a sense of what I was talking about, this invisible presence. But actually what happens with ever further acquaintance and familiarity with this presence, one day you actually discover that that's what you are. So, when I'm dead and gone and in my grave, and you've all sort of settling down, if you ever remember presence, I am with you, which is exactly what Jesus says. I'm with you always. And doesn't Jesus tell us to follow him? And isn't this what happens? Well, of course, I'm in that blessed position of knowing now. For other people it may seem a bit theoretical, but I've never been more sure of anything. Eternal life. No division. Singular. Not lives. Eternal life. Singular. As it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be.
I might be wrong, but I think there's a word in science. I'm not a scientist, as you know. They refer to phase changes, and what you've just described from vapor to water droplets is a phase change, from water droplets to ice is a phase change. Maybe you're going through the ultimate phase change.
We absolutely must somehow try to bring all these things down into within human concept, isn't it? Within words and descriptions and things. We just can't help it. I've been doing it myself all my life.
I love it.
I've got fed up with it, Phil. I've done enough. After 10 books, I've had enough.
Well, you're going to have to bear with me. Humour me, John. We're not all on the verge of a phase change ourselves yet. There is, of course, we can always rely on the Old Testament for something helpful in this regard. Isaiah chapter 55, verse 8 and 9. If anybody wants to look it up, you'll be familiar with this. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are my ways your ways. Look at the smile on your face.
Yes, indeed. Yes. 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 Yes, it's very comforting. I always found it that when people sort of think about the world and say, how can God allow it? And yes.
I might leave this one out, John, but I like my words. I've found some great new words this week. I've started reading a very thick book by a respected Christian theologian called David Bentley Hart, and in his new book, All Things Are Full of Gods, provocative, plural, I will take him to task on that later. He says this: all acts of the mind are participations in the mind of God.
Yes.
Well, you're nodding and saying yes. I'm shaking my head and going, no, how can that be?
Yes, of course that's right. Well, I've been approaching this recently in terms of the love of God. Well, not over the last year or so, because that's always been a puzzle to me. What is meant by the love of God? And I may be quite wrong on this, but this is the way my little mind has sort of figured it out. That if you take all the love in all the world, all the love that's ever been loved and ever will be loved between people and animals and trees and all the love in all the world. Even gravity is a form of love, isn't it? Magnetism is a form of love. God calling us is a form of love. It's the urge to unite. It's the opposite of separation. It's the power of one. The magnetic power of one. It's like this, God holding the whole world in his hand. Well, all of that love together, well, in my little mind, I thought that might be what we mean by the love of God. So, if instead of love we talk of the mind of God, that all the mentality that's ever existed, not only between man, but between everything, are all really variations on the original, pure, if we must use a word, mind of God. Like all water is drops of the ocean, isn't it? All light is aspects of the sun, the ultimate containment of all things, the origin. So of course it's all just vibrations, isn't it? What we call thoughts. If God is unchanging, we could call God stillness. And within the stillness, the original stillness, you can feel it here now. This pure, silent, invisible stillness that obviously has no end, does it? Where does it end? It embraces the whole cosmos. Within that, the original little ripple, vibration. In the beginning was the Word. And the Word, the primal cause of what we call creation. Between what we manifest as matter, of course, is the mind. The vibration eventually forms solid matter. And the scientists have discovered this, haven't they, that all what we call matter is actually vibration, isn't it?
Well, John, I must say I'm very impressed with your line of thinking there. Well done. But of course you don't trust your thinking, do you?
Oh dear, oh dear. It gets so confusing, doesn't it?
Am I allowed to say gotcha? I think that's called leading you up the garden path, so don't you worry about that. You sort of bring us to the end of thoughts and the end of words, really. And I'm reminded of one of my favourite sayings from Meister Eckhart. There is nothing in all creation so like God as silence.
Yes, exactly. Yes, indeed. Yes. Amen. Well, it's self-evident, really, isn't it? If we're just present here and feel this. Well, the whole church is full of it, isn't it? Everybody, most people, when they come into a church, have some sense of it. And then within that, people start talking and singing and moving around. The transitory world takes place within the eternal world.
Less is more. In many of your conversations, with not just with me, but with other people, for example, on the recent narrowboat conversation with Dave, he asked you, how do you connect to nature? And do you remember the first thing you said?
Stop talking.
Stop talking. You used to really annoy me. Still do from time to time. But I think you've won me over on that one, John. As soon as you open your mouth, as soon as I open my mouth, and you grasp at words which are forms of the mind, concepts, using your favourite word now, you immediately label and separate. So the unity collapses.
Exactly. Well, it doesn't collapse, Phil. It's always there. It's eternal. But we lose it. Well, actually, again, to be correct, we can't lose it, can we? We forget it, or Jesus calls us lost sheep, doesn't he? We are lost. Yes. We lose our awareness of it. There was someone staying here the other week. I'm getting better now at looking into people's eyes and finding this presence in people. It's really there in everybody, but we don't notice it, we don't see it. I suppose partly because not being there ourselves, our own perception is agitated. We tend to see a projection of what's in us, don't we? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. The world is what we make it, is what we see it. And again, to the pure, all things are pure. So I think as I become more aware of this unchanging eternal, I won't even say part, but it's eternal in myself, so I'm much more able to see it in other people. And with this person, this woman, it was so clear that I really didn't see her body at all, hardly. It's extraordinary. Indeed, the personality, what we call the personality, the sort of mental associations, the thoughts, the character, what we call, was hardly evident at all. What was there was this light. Actually, it was glorious. She wasn't a young and beautiful person, but it revealed this wonder, which actually made me realize that there aren't actually millions of different women in this world at all. There are millions of different women and characters, but in this reality, there's just one. It is extraordinary, isn't it? One original Eve from the Garden of Eden, and then man and woman themselves merge into one original being.
And is that what you saw that time when you first looked into the eyes of that woman?
That was my first big experience, mind-blowing. I say mind-blowing, which was exactly what it is. It took me right out of all my mental understanding of what a woman was. And this is the first time I really saw clearly beyond. Now it's quite commonplace for me.
And now there's a whole book about it, so we can all read about it.
My last book is, but see, I'm even beyond that now.
Beyond books, beyond words.
Beyond words, yes.
You know, there is a very long and respected tradition, certainly in the Christian mystic tradition, and I'm not familiar enough with other religions and philosophies really to say, but it's called, as I understand it, it's called the apophatic tradition. And in India I came across this with the two words neti neti, not this, not this. And the opening words of the Tao Te Ching is the Tao that can be spoken is not the real Tao. And there's a very healthy long tradition, particularly with a first century guy with the fantastic name Dionysius the Areopagite.
Areopagite. Yes.
What a name! Okay. Clearly, it's brought a smile to your face. He was an advocate of less is more. Basically, you can't say anything about God because you'd be mistaken. So you can only say what God isn't. He says, silent, darkness and unknowing is the only sure path. Silent, darkness and unknowing, which you know something about, don't you?
Yes, I'm very keen on unknowing these days. Yes, that's the only place I feel safe. Yes, whenever I hear anybody say, I know, then he doesn't know. That's advertising that he doesn't know. Or he knows a bit about, something down below, but not this.
You could say you inhabit the cloud of unknowing twice a day, at least twice a day, sat just there.
And it isn't a cloud, it's the opposite of a cloud. It's you can't say what it is, it's beyond.
It's a phase change of a cloud. Sorry. We've got to the end of thoughts, whether we trust them or not, and words, and we've come back to silence, so we'll have a moment of silence. And I will just reflect on Ronan Keating's wise words. You say it best when you say nothing at all.
But I'm going to spoil it now. Because we've done quite a lot of laughing in this video, sort of chuckling. Because actually, although you know me quite well, and you know that I never say I'm happy, or very rarely say I'm happy. Do you know, when I'm talking about this or recognizing this, I think for perhaps the first time ever in my life, I just feel this joy. It's something so unlike John Butler and my concept of myself. Pure joy. Inexpressible joy. That's not like me to say, is it?
Not like you at all, John. Well, thank God for that. After a lifetime in the vale of tears, you've surfaced into the sunlight.
Heaven, heaven. Thank you.